From the days of antiquity, the theater has celebrated. The theater holds up a mirror to man's joys, doubts, and ultimate fate. To understand the theater, one must begin with the actor. It is through the actor that the author speaks. It is through the actor that the director translates the author's intentions. And it is the actor on whom the audience depends for its perception of the dramatic experience. In our century, no actor concerned with creating truth on the stage remains untouched by the example and influence of Konstantin Stanislavski. This is the story of his lifelong search for truth in art. Konstantin Sergeyevich Alexeyev, later to add the stage name Stanislavski, was born in Moscow on January the 17th, 1863. Theater was in the air on the family estate near Moscow where Stanislavski spent his childhood. One wing of the main house, draped with flags, was set aside for amateur theatricals. Play acting was in the family's blood. Stanislavski's father, an industrialist, and his mother both took part in the theatricals. The family's love for the theater stemmed perhaps from Stanislavski's grandmother, a noted French actress. In the Alexeyev household, everybody acted. Here are the cooks, gardeners, and the coachmen dressed as soldiers for a family production. To young Stanislavski, the estate grounds seemed like a vast stage. On summer holidays, the family and friends joined in outdoor pageants and games. Afterward, there was always a bonfire for the children to dance around. But the greatest holiday was a trip to the circus. The fire eaters and acrobats enraptured the boy. He fell in love with a lady bareback rider. He told his brothers he would be a circus director when he grew up. The circus was soon replaced in his affections by the ballet. From the family box at the Bolshoi Theater, Stanislavski was swept up in the fusion of sound and movement. And when his father took him backstage, the enchantment deepened. After an evening at the theater, he would go to bed and dream about the spectacle he had seen. The world of music and make-believe was as real to him as the bed he slept in. Stanislavski was never to lose the vision which illuminated his childhood. Years later, his famous production of Maeterlinck's The Bluebird would show how the artist can help people to see the beauty that surrounds them in life. For the child who wills it, the witch is really a good fairy.
Что такое я вынимаю из моего мешка?
There, shining on the cap, is the magic diamond that makes people see with their eyes.
Вот он-то и делает людей зрячими. Ну, ты хочешь примерить шапочку? Да, хочу. А теперь поверни алмаз.
One has only to turn the diamond, and the invisible becomes visible. One turn, and the world is transformed. Armed with the good fairy's diamond, Stanislavski was ready to search for the bluebird in the splendid land of the theater. He soon understood that the person who persists, undeterred by any cost, will find the bluebird. Stanislavski was 14 years old when he made his formal debut in the family theater on September the 5th, 1877. He appeared in two one-act plays, A Cup of Tea and The Old Mathematician. The young actor noted in his diary that he had not created a role. It merely imitated popular actors of the day. As he gained in experience in family productions, he became even more aware of the actor's problems. How is one to play the life of a man? His age, his character, he asked himself. He joined the Moscow Society for Art and Literature in 1888 and soon got the chance to direct as well as act. A real director did not exist in the Russian theater at that time. Questions of staging and style were decided mechanically. The chairs go to the right, now to place the actors. To Stanislavski, these actors seem puppets in a cardboard theater. On the stage, as in the early silent cinema, the first law of acting was exaggeration. This is the way they showed jealousy. This woman is planning to set fire to her husband. This is the way they loved. And this is the way they suffered. Such behavior degraded both actor and audience and kept acting at the level of infantile mimicry. Stanislavski decided to place the actors in a normal, everyday situation. Gone were the grimaces. In his first directorial effort, The Burning Letters, actors turned their backs to the audience when it seemed natural. Even the furnishings and arrangement of the set conveyed a more lifelike atmosphere. A new dramatic style was developing before the eyes of the Moscow audience. Everything I put on the stage must come from life, Stanislavski said. A visit to Venice convinced him to direct a production of Othello. He spent days roaming the city, studying its architecture and people. For each role in the spectacle he was to stage, he sought out a costume and a character. He dug into the city's archives for sketches of hairstyles, dress, and manner. His director's notebooks reflect his passion for meticulous research in preparing a production. Stanislavski himself played Othello. On June the 21st, 1897, Stanislavski met the man who was to help him make theatrical history. Vladimir Nemirovich Danchenko, dramatist, critic, and teacher. They spoke in a Moscow restaurant for 18 hours. The next morning, they adjourned to Stanislavski's estate for more discussion. Both men were agreed on the need for a theater that would break with existing convention. Out of their conversation was born the Moscow Art Theater. Nemirovich Danchenko would be literary administrator. Stanislavski would be artistic director. The theater's first home was this barn in the village of Pushkina. And here assembled for the first time is the acting company of what was to become the most serious theater in the world. Russia's ancient cloisters provided the impetus for the company's first play, Alexei Tolstoy's tragedy, Tsar Fyodor Ivanovich. In cloisters like these, Stanislavski found authentic costumes, weapons, and artifacts. Such a representation of Russian antiquity had never before been seen on the stage. Productions of Tsar Fyodor at the Moscow Art Theater are still based on Stanislavski's design. Before his time, the play had been staged only for the nobility. Now, the Moscow Art Theater brought the grandeur and terror of old Russia to new audiences.
Дмитрий, к себе из Углича выпустил сюда. И мальчику, и мальчиных братьев, всех.
The action reminded audiences that tsars and princes are just like other people in their ability to suffer and inflict suffering. The Moscow Art Theatre scored a triumph with this first production. But its real opening was still to come. Nemirovich Danchenko introduced a young writer named Anton Chekhov to the company. Chekhov's play The Seagull had failed miserably at the Imperial Theatre in St. Petersburg, but he was persuaded to allow Stanislavski to restage it. If the play failed this time, Chekhov would never again write for the stage. How should the play be done? Stanislavski wasn't sure he understood it. Taking a copy of the text with him, he went to his brother's country house. He realized he was on just such an estate that the people of Chekhov's play lived. How was one to transfer to the stage the melancholy poetry of such an autumn evening? Stanislavski saw that he must teach his actors to convey the truth of those imperceptible moods. The half-tones, the words left unsaid, the tense pauses that comprise the character of the seagull. His director's notes for staging the play have become a classic, just as Stanislavski himself was seeking to create a new theater. The Seagull is a poem about the defeat of an artist who is searching for a new truth. But would the play be understood? Chekhov's widow, the actress Olga Chekova, recalls the opening night. And then, when the third act ended, there was sudden silence. A few seconds passed, and suddenly something happened as if a dam had burst. And there began a kind of madness, as when you cease to feel that you have a body, a head, legs, that everything has flown together. And there was a kind of mad exulting. The curtain, it was not lowered. The audience and the stage became a single thing. We stood there as if we were drunk. Everyone had tears streaming down his face. We embraced, we kissed. There were excited voices in the audience saying something, demanding that a telegram immediately be sent to Chekhov at Yalta. Because illness forced Chekhov to live near the sea in sunny Yalta, the Moscow Art Theatre brought his plays to him. In Yalta, Chekhov for the first time saw his uncle Vanya performed as he had planned it. The people are having dinner, just having dinner. At the same time, their happiness is being created, or their life is being destroyed. Everything in a man must be splendid. That is the play's motto. Everything was splendid in the performance of Stanislavski as the country doctor Astrov. His country doctor was a living incarnation of gentle endurance. Stanislavski saw that Chekhov's men and women may be trapped by their environment and by their weakness, but they want to live and not to die. The Seagull became the living symbol of the Moscow Art Theatre, and Chekhov, its favorite playwright. A great writer and a great director joined forces to depict the truth of the human condition. From Yalta, Chekhov sent the theater a new play, The Three Sisters. In Stanislavski's production, The Three Sisters, their ardent yearning for a better life seemed to symbolize the yearning of the entire country. During the 1890s, the performances of the art theater became an important public event in the life of Russia. To assure they're getting tickets, people would spend the night outside the theater waiting for the box office to open. My God, thought Stanislavski, what a responsibility we are taking upon ourselves. What great ideas and thoughts we ought to bring them. As Russia edged towards the storm of revolution, Stanislavski brought a new hero to the stage. In the role of Dr. Stockman in Ibsen's An Enemy of the People, he seemed to speak for all Russia in protesting injustice. Stanislavski now added to the company's repertoire a production of The Lower Depths by Maxim Gorky. The lives of hobos and derelicts like these were depicted on the stage for the first time in a performance of astonishing realism. Set in a flophouse, the play contrasts the lot of those who live without illusion and those who rely on romanticism.
Дед мой, вы...
Не было деда! Не было!
Значит, скажи ей, скажи этой шлюхе. А ты тоже не веришь? Ты смеешься? Ну, было же!
Freedom at all costs was Stanislavski's theme in The Lower Depths, a cry that heralded the storm and called to the storm. But a revolt in 1905 was quickly suppressed by the Tsarist regime. Exhausted and dispirited by the events around him, Stanislavski spent the summer of 1906 in Finland. He felt like giving up the theater altogether. But he was about to make one of the important discoveries of his artistic life. Each morning, he walked by the seaside, recalling his career, his lessons, and his mistakes. Once again, he saw before him his favorite actors. There was something they all had in common in their best moments. Perhaps this meant that inspiration has some laws of its own. If these laws exist, one can put them into a system. He noticed the children on the beach. No occupation more important than this exists for them now. Such concentration, such seriousness. If an actor had the same faith in his role, he would be inimitable. If only an actor could be so carried away. But an actor is not a child. He must achieve that faith consciously by traveling the road of reason. From actors and children, Stanislavski turned to poets and philosophers. He began to see that it is possible to penetrate into the depths of human subconsciousness. In the margin of a book by the actor Shchepkin, his great Russian predecessor, Stanislavski noted the advice, take your models from life and from nature. Stanislavski's system began to take form in his direction of Turgenev's A Month in the Country. External theatrics were absent. His actors were almost stationary. But the subtle dynamism of their performance brought to life the play's interior psychological patterns. Stanislavski did not merely play Rakitin. He became Rakitin to his fingertips. Stanislavski believed an actor must constantly work to perfect his roles. Here is his first performance as Famusov, more the bureaucrat than the nobleman. Here is the second version. And the third version. A complete fusion of actor and image. Stanislavski offered living proof in many roles that an actor's instrument, his voice and his body, can become one with the character portrayed. Here are the famous hands of Stanislavski as he played Molière's imaginary invalid. Compare them with his hands as Rakitin. While Stanislavski was consolidating a revolution in the theater, Russia was moving towards revolution on the outside.
Прощай, дом. Прощай, старая жизнь.
The voice of Chekhov sounds a prophetic note in the cherry orchard. Anya says, goodbye, old life. Trofimov says, hail to the new life. With each play, Stanislavski opened new worlds to the Moscow audience. In his production of Ostrovsky's An Ardent Heart in the mid-1920s, realism is sharpened to the point of buffoonery.
Через душу я пью. Для тебя. Для варвара.
Side by side with the classics, Stanislavski also staged contemporary plays. His production of Ivanov's Armored Train, 1469, focuses on the partisan heroes of revolutionary Russia during its civil war. With singular discipline, Stanislavski achieved his dream. On the 30th anniversary of the Moscow Art Theatre, young members of the theatre's acting studios gathered outside to pay homage to the man who had followed the Bluebird and changed theatrical history. Stanislavski and Yemirovich Danchenko, co-founder of the theatre, were joined in the celebration by the actors and actresses who together had nurtured their dream. Here, old friends could remember the road they had traveled as they exchanged toasts with Stanislavski and his wife, Lilina. But Stanislavski was more interested in toasting the future. Around this table, he continued to prepare new plays with his actors. After the company toured Europe and the United States, actors and directors from many lands visited the art theatre to learn more about Stanislavski's techniques. The Moscow Art Theatre, founded by Stanislavski, is a living memorial to his career as actor, director, and producer. Beginning with the workman-like entrance, every inch of the Moscow Art Theatre reflects Stanislavski's sense of purpose. No one is allowed to enter the auditorium today after the performance has begun. Everything in the theatre exists to help the actor. The lighting board. Stanislavski would tell the electricians, actors are just as sensitive to shades of light as photographic film. The desk, where Stanislavski sat so often, working with the actors to build an ensemble performance faithful to the spirit of the play. The property room. Everything here was important for Stanislavski. If the actor was given the wrong spectacles, the whole portrayal might easily suffer. Here, the actor waited for his entrance cue to go on the stage. One must remember the words of Shepkin, Stanislavski would often say. Anyone who fails to sense the threshold of the stage, let him not cross it. When the performance was in progress, Stanislavski would go on tiptoe, trying not to step too hard on the floorboards lest they creak. He knew each floorboard by heart. Thus, every day for 30 years, he directed his theatrical ship, unceasingly checking and planning its course. The theater was his true home. Between the rehearsal and the performance, he would rest here on this sofa without leaving the theater. His dinner was often brought to him here in his dressing room. Here also, on this table, he would write a critique of the performances, a record written in blood at the very moment of battle. During his later years, Stanislavski's favorite role was that of Colonel Vershinin in The Three Sisters. It was the last part he played on the stage of the theater he had created. Stanislavski fell during the performance, struck down by a heart attack. Never again was he to wear this uniform. His career seemed over, but it was only the beginning of a new chapter in his astonishing life. In his Moscow house, he worked on, seeking to strengthen his actors against artifice, searching for new ways to represent truth in the theater. His conference with the actress Bendina exemplifies his method of stimulating actors to tap their innermost resources.
Но в себе это не культивировала.
Да все равно умеете.
Умею, это у меня в природе, это у меня есть.
Но вот вы, вот это то, что вы умеете, мне больше ничего не нужно.
Каждый человек это имеет в природе.
Ведь видите, то, что я вам предлагаю, почему это особенно важно? Я вас сразу выключаю из...
Now you see what I'm offering you, because this is especially important. I exclude you immediately from the plane of acting, and I place you on the plane of your own human memories.
Давайте разберем, сколько у каждого актера штамп.
In his last years, it was the younger actors particularly with whom he shared his wisdom. They must carry on his work. When rehearsals were over, Stanislavski's day began anew. For now he sought to put on paper the results of a lifetime's observation. Writing with the same passion he had brought to the stage, he retraced his own search for the secret key to creation in the theater. The solution to the riddle lay in understanding the roots of behavior and action in man. Seeking confirmation in the studies of physiologists and psychologists like Pavlov, writing and rewriting, Stanislavski hammered out his principles in the books My Life in Art, An Actor Prepares, and Building a Character. Invention, isolation, self-immersion in the situation of the play, memorization of common emotions. The truth must come from within the actor. But now the country reminded him he was 75 years old. He had caught the bluebird because he had never swerved from the pursuit of perfection in the theater. Stanislavski enlarged the sphere of art by looking deep inside the heart of man. He died in Moscow on August the 7th, 1938. His legacy inspires today's leading actors and directors. His example will always guide those who seek to advance the truth of the theater.